Let's get one thing straight right now. We want to buy stocks that go from $1 to $3, not $3 to $1. Now, sometimes that involves buying stocks that have gone through a little bit of a horror story. Hey, we've all been through rough times, right? Well, guess what? It happens to companies also. But sometimes in the stock markets, people throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm going to have to go get that baby that was in my bungee cord video. I'll throw him out later on. I know of a company that is in just that situation right now. I'm going to tell you more. Let's go. Hey, you. Yes, you. Welcome to Ron's Basement. I'm glad you're here. Today, I have a horror story for you, one involving a silver and gold mining company. I think this may be a situation where the baby was thrown out with the bathwater. America's Gold and Silver. It's a Canadian silver mining company, so the name doesn't really make all that much sense, but nonetheless, they've been around for a while, at least 10 years. They have 3 mines. Okay, now the horror story starts there. They had major problems over the last year and a half at 2 of their 3 mines. Okay, we'll start in Mexico, their Cosala mine. Major blockade, strike, it's like almost like gangster unions involved. And anyway, that's all been resolved. And as of October, November of last year, so about 3 or 4 months ago, they're back. They're mining huge amounts of silver and zinc at that mine. It's a very profitable mine. But to me, the most important part is the company really stood their ground during this rough patch with these unions and whatnot down in Mexico. They got support from government officials. They really hammered out a good agreement. And, I don't have a crystal ball, but it feels like that mine is solid going forward. And it's producing a lot of profit and cash flow, which this company needs. Because if you go a little further north, you get to Nevada, where you get to their Relief Canyon mine. That's part 2 of the horror story. They made a foray into the gold mining business, 3-4 years back. They built this rather large mine in Nevada called Relief Canyon, and it's been anything but a relief. They had major problems. The conditions of the ore, I guess it had too much carbon in it, and they couldn't get the gold to come out, and it was up to now, let's just call it a failure, okay? That mine has been put on what's called care and maintenance. So it's basically been shut down. They basically wrote it off completely. They took a big charge, but they are doing some studies to see if there's other mining methods that could be used that would allow them to extract the gold from the ore in an economical fashion. The other thing to remember with that mine is that if gold does continue its march upward, which we all hope that it does, the mine becomes, even in its current state, even more and more economical. And hey, they wrote the whole thing off, so it's like zero on their books at this point. And there's a lot. They built a brand new mine that's just sitting there. So some other company might come along and say, "Hey, we'll try it. We'll give you, $40 million for it," or I have no idea what it would be like. But you never know what might happen. Now, the good news. So those were the horror stories. That, along with their stock price over the last couple of years, which went from like $3 or $4 down to as low as like 50 cents. Currently, it's at $1, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's go just a little further north up to Idaho. Their Galena silver project. Eric Sprott, more about him later, is a big partner with them on that project. Sprott owns 40%. America's Gold and Silver owns 60%. They've had unbelievable exploration success there. I think they have like 80 million ounces of silver they've identified at this point, maybe more. You can look at the company presentation on the website. You know, what am I supposed to give you? Details? I don't know all the details, but I know there's a 3 boatloads of silver at their Galena project up in Idaho. And they're making a major investment in a new hoist, which I guess is like a giant elevator for bringing silver ore up out of the ground. So their production is going to be increasing there as well. Okay. Speaking of production, they are estimating 5 million ounces of silver production this year, I think it is. Either this year or next year. Anyway, sometime here in the near future, they're going to be producing 5 million ounces of silver. Now, think about this. Think about this. The price of silver right now is $25.50. A lot of people are saying that we could see much, much higher silver prices. Now, $25.50 is great, okay? I don't want, I'm happy with that. But just let's go crazy. Let's say silver goes to $35.50. That's an extra $10 in profit margin. And that is just like, for a miner, when the price of silver or gold goes up, most all of that price increase goes directly into profit, into additional cash flow. So at an extra $10 per ounce silver, if they're producing 5 million ounces, that's $50 million of additional profit and or cash flow, roughly speaking. The market cap of the company is like not much over 150 million. I mean, I know a lot of you aren't into balance sheets and numbers like I am, but the opportunity here is real. Now, another thing I love about this company is the location of their assets. Idaho, okay, I've never been there, but it's in the United States, and it's a safe jurisdiction. They've been mining up there for, 100 years. Hecla has Lucky Friday. It's just big mining area. So we don't have any real geopolitical risk at all with Idaho. Nevada, and again, another really great mining jurisdiction. Unfortunately, the Relief Canyon mine has sucked wind, but nonetheless, it's in a great location. In Mexico, which is becoming a very difficult place to mine, right? However, hopefully, and I'm confident in saying this, I think the Cosalá mine is solid. Hopefully, they've already been through their troubles in Mexico, and we can see a long period of mutually beneficial mining going on down in Mexico. Major investors in this company: Eric Sprott and Pierre Lauzon. Okay, those guys are like the grandpas, the wise grandpas of the gold and silver mining industry. If you know anything about the mining industry, you know that Eric Sprott and Pierre Lauzon are super well respected. Their balance sheet is awesome. Very little debt. Very, very little debt. Let me repeat that. That's important, because if you get a levered up mining company and they hit a rough patch like America's did, bankruptcy can become a real option. This company is not in risk of going into bankruptcy anytime soon, in my opinion. Let's see, what else? Anything else I need to cover here? They produce a ton of zinc. And the price of zinc is like, I don't know if it's an all-time high, but it's like doubled or tripled from where it was just 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. So that's another huge contributor to cash flow going forward. I guess that's it, guys. I went a little longer than I expected. I just want to say one last thing. I want to say thank you to the guys at the Upper Bottom Gang. Upper Bottom Gang. There's some great artists here in St. Louis. They're letting me use their music now for my little intro and my end page. So if you like their music, you can check them out. Great guys. And hey, thanks for being here. If you enjoy my channel and you enjoy my videos, you can subscribe right here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being in the basement. We'll see you soon.